talking Mr. Robert Thorn the third. Man, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. Peace. Peace.
Yo. Welcome to another episode of the Quarantine Chronicles. I'm your host, DG Bags. And today we have a super duper guest. I mean, you have people on the forefront that you think to make things happen. Then you got people that really make things happen. We got a CEO. I'm talking all purpose. We're going to dive into everything that this man does and is. He is coaching. We're talking Mr. Robert Thorn the third. Man, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. Peace. Peace. I really appreciate y'all giving me opportunity to talk, bro, and kick it what you're doing. This kind of a lot of tragic situations going on, man, but we, keep blessed energy, man. So it's definitely an honor, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it so much, man. You lived a lot of lives. Like, I don't know nobody with clubs in Medellin. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know nobody that's making moves like that. I started in Japan and started. Listen, I want to start from the beginning, man. Tell us about growing up in Japan and starting off as a model.
So to get to the beginning, my mother was a school teacher for she was out of High Point, North Carolina, and she had been teaching kindergarten, first grade, things of that nature. And she had me, and she kind of homeschooled me a lot. I was kind of advanced because she was a teacher, and she took me from just learning at home to actually little school situations. But I never really got in an actual school program. I had more like private teachers that were teaching me at the time between 2, 3, and 4. At 4 years old is actually when we moved to Japan. But right before 6 months, 8 to 6 months before we actually left America, she had started putting me in modeling, and I got with a modeling agency, Glenn Harris, I believe was the last name. Modeling agency. I was the first. I don't like to say the word black, so I'll just reference person of my hue or more to be within that company, and that kind of like really started me to kind of feel like the sky was the limit early, because when you're that young and then all these people are like catering towards you, you're the only person that looks like you in this environment. I'm modeling for Hanes, Oshkosh, J.C. Penney's, and everybody else is white. It's all white kids, but I have a star on my door, and people opening up, checking on me, doing it. It kind of becomes a thing. But like my mother always trained me, that's work, and then this is home. So there's a difference between the two. And that was the kind of start with the modeling, and then we went to Japan. We left and we went to Yokosuka. We were in Nagishi, and then we went to Yokosuka later. But that's kind of like the start.
Yeah, that's great. You said something interesting about like not referring to yourself as black, because I'm from Houston, Texas, and my father's from New York City. In New York, it was already a big pot. Like you had Italians, you had Jamaicans, you had Asians, they was already integrated. Where so far where I'm from in the South, it was really segregating a lot of racial things. And my father used to always tell me this before I was even able to understand that should be able to understand. 3, 4 years old, he used to be like, "Where you from?" I used to be like, "Houston, Texas." He used to be like, "No." I used to be like, "Well, I'm from New York," because that's where he's from. He's like, "No." He's be like, "You from planet Earth. You was born on Earth. All this land is yours." You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Yeah, word, man. So when you say something like that, so I always had it. I was always big. I was my only friend. My friends. We all jam and screw. But when they come to my house, I'm listening to Duran. They're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Hey, that's all mine. I love Simon Le Bon. What you gonna tell me? What the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
No, I mean, you really got to look at it like what we can't continue to do as a culture is, be limited. And there's certain films that have came out recently that gave validation to that train of thought. I saw Black Panther one time, and it only took one time for me to watch it. And watching Black Panther validated my methodology. And we have to continuously pay that homage to our bloodline, which is our ancestry. And we know that our ancestry walked the earth. So, I don't believe in staying stagnant in one place. The last interview I just did, I made a comment about, not residing in a place that, puts a ceiling on my vision. I'm a visionary. I believe a lot of us are visionaries, and we're able to manifest, different things, be connected in that way. And all of us are. It's just, if you wake up, you awake to that situation. And you can't expand and be the best person that you can be for others. And I'll repeat that again: be the best person you can be for others. Because once you get to a real point of realization of where we are in life, you realize that your life ain't about you. Your life really about the person next to you. It's about your culture. It's about your community. You know, it's about your lineage. It's about the kids. It's about the youth, because you're on a time clock when you get to a certain point. So you can't just waste that time. You have to make moves. And some people, you know, say, well, I don't have the money. No excuses. We all have the money. We all can do it. It's just you have to plan properly, and you have to just, you know, set forth and go on the journey, man, and, you know, keep that positive energy and let the universes be your guide, bro.
What was the first thing you stepped out on faith and on your own whims and your own knowledge? Did you say, hey, I'm gonna do this and this is mine, I'm gonna take ownership of it?
The first thing I ever did in business, from a business perspective, oh man, the first thing I ever did, my mother got me an agent. I was 5. I had just turned 5.
Wow.
I had an agent in Japan by the name of Winky White. His son and I actually attended school 2-3 years later. We were actually in the same school. And Winky White had put me in a movie, Japanese baseball movie. And by being in that movie, I was left alone. My mother was there, but there was a lot of things I had to go off and do, and the directors and people kept the parents and stuff kind of away, so we could kind of focus on what we were supposed to be doing in the film. And it was like that, I think, was a moment for me of separation from that nest. You know, as a bird, you with your parents and you got to fly on your own. I got put in a situation where I realized I could not have a baby-fine reliance at 5 with my mother. In Japan, and you're talking about the 80s, so it's a totally different makeup. You had kids that would ride the train and buses at 7, 8, 9 years by themselves. You know, Japan is a different land. So that, I think that kind of like started it within me. But when I first actually did my real deal, business deal, I was 14 years old. I brought Soul for Real to Yokosuka military base. I was working with Tone One Production with Daniel Brooks and Owen Lamb, and they had actually helped bring them in the country to perform at Yokohama Bay Hall and things like that, because a lot of people were being promoters and all that. But I did the deal with military welfare recreation at 14 years old. My first $10,000 contract at 14 to bring Soul for Real on the base. And it was just like, when you're in a situation, the way I grew up, it's like no holds barred. Like there is no blocking anything. If you see another brother doing something, you know you can do it too. You know, you kind of forget that you're this age or that age because nobody caps you. Nobody says, oh, you're too young. You know, in Japan during this time, you could buy a pack of cigarettes and a beer out of a machine and not get carded. You see what I'm saying? No limitations. So yeah, I would say my first actual business deal with military welfare recreation, MWR, some people know it to be another branch of like USO, 14.
Wow, that's dope, man. And I know that was big time Soul for Real, Candy Rain.
It's more, I got a book coming out called No Excuses, and No Excuses goes into more details about things that transpired, the good and bad, in my life. But yeah, me and Jason have some stories. You know, some things, you know, transpired, and that's to be read later. But yeah, 14, brother, 14.
That's crazy that's actually a great segue. You talking about you got a book going on, because like I said, I think you should have a book based on your life because it's so adventurous. You've been here, you've been there. I mean, from the first black EDM label, I mean, working with Rome, you know what I'm saying? First of all, I'm a huge Sublime fan, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Bradley. Like, but I started playing the guitar because of Bradley. Like, so like I'm a huge like Sublime fan. So you've done things, it's so extensive, I can't even dive into it. It just has to come naturally during conversation, you know what I mean? But I think I think you could inspire a lot of people. A lot of people not fortunate enough to grow up with those same views that you have. Like my son now, who's 5 years old, he came into the world where the president's black. He came into the world where there's the internet and information is, so he's more fortunate, but he doesn't know the value of that. And you got that early, so you got to step up on that. You know what I'm saying? Like you lived the life of an 80-year-old man and you still living. You know what I'm saying? Still living great, still youthful. You got your Bob Marley in the background. You got the king on your shirt. You know what I'm saying? Prince Rogers. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Under the Cherry Moon, underrated movie of all time. You know what I'm saying? You know.
Well, I mean, it's I don't make the culture makes me. You know, and when I believe you get a different you get every time you become a chameleon, I believe that it's like you shed a layer of skin. So it's like a rebirth. So every country that I've been to, I never go to that country and try to predominantly stay with Americans. When I go to a country, first I always go to the hood. I always look for where the hood is. Because the hood in every country is going to tell you about the country. It's going to tell you what's really going on. You're really going to connect with the people at the heart of the people. And you'll know how to really do commerce, because you're starting in more of the I hate really saying it though. You started in the areas where people are fighting as independent thinkers that become creatives that later become entrepreneurs. So therefore, the small business individuals predominantly are always in this urbanized area that we would call kind of a low income area. And then it starts to span out to where you get to where the corporations are, which are normally in the predominant larger city, if you will. So I always try to go to the heart and the essence of every country, whether I was in Uzbekistan or Bahrain or Singapore, wherever I've been and lived, I always duplicate the same model. So I would say in duplicating that model, you have to like relinquish, oh, I'm American. No, bro, that has nothing to do with anything. You're in another people's land. You need to embrace their culture. You need to adapt their culture. You need to become a chameleon. You need to eat what they eat. You need to, go kick it with somebody grandma, get some stories, whether you speak the language or not. Not speaking the language is an excuse, because it's all about vibration. You can still understand things through general vibration, And I come from an era where there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, there was no MySpace. I come from we just graduated high school and we got Hotmail. You know what I'm saying? That's the generation I come from. So for me, yeah, man, doing that is always staying humble, never getting into a realm of cocky conceitedness, never looking at the things that you've achieved. I listen to certain things like Diddy has kicked out, Dame Dash. There's certain little people that have, not certain little people, certain people that have said things that have inspired me. Like when Diddy makes a comment, it doesn't matter what we did, last year. You won the Super Bowl last year, but what you gonna do this year? So I try to look at every moment, every year, and I evaluate, did I elevate? Did I stay the same? Did I fall off? What did I learn? But yeah, I would to go to your next question before we go into that, I would say when I really strongly became a man, I think it was 2017, when I was able to look in the mirror and take ownership of everything I've ever done in my life. And I think that that's kind of what slowly put me in a position to end up where I currently am and get the blessings that are raining down now. Because when you start really taking true ownership, looking the man in the mirror scenario, like everything just becomes beautiful. Like nothing, you don't deal with what other people in other dimensions around deal with. You deal with your star player and your character. You know what I'm saying? You only allow certain characters of a like mind to even come inside your circle. You feel me?
Yes. That's dope. Well, tell us what you got going on right now. Tell you about your position and what you got coming up.
So I moved to Medellin, Colombia, and I came to Medellin, Colombia, September 2018. I came for my birthday. We was talking about going to the DR because we were so used to popping the bottles and doing all the crazy stuff in Atlanta and Wild. But after a while, when you sitting with your accountant and stuff, you start looking at numbers. We did a lot for the brand, but I don't know if we making it really make sense to continuously keep doing the same thing. So we just started looking at different places, and Medellin stuck out, Colombia stuck out, and so my brother Joseph Stewart and I, we came to Colombia, and we first went to Guadalupe. It was beautiful. It was like this moment of tranquility, man. The mountains, the water, everything was crazy. So it was my first time riding horses. Like I had never rode a horse. So I'm doing like it's Thursday, and we in the mountains riding horses right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is a different vibration from being in the big city and staying on the hamster wheel and you doing the music thing. And it's like, you needed that kind of breath of fresh air. So then coming to the city, You know, I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the people, and the commerce was crazy. And being that we had started having that success with Imagine Festival, which is the electronic festival we do in Atlanta, you know, my mentality was really electronic based with techno and in house and all that. So I found that market, and that was at a club called Mew. I took that and was like, you know, I linked with the owner, Durat, and I was like, bro, we really need to bring in, you know, trap, because even though trap was going kind of on the down slope a little bit, it was still something that I felt like I could still get that introduction here in Medellin. So I did a couple events and stuff. You know, they were mediocre, but I really made my mind up that I just wasn't going to reside in North America anymore, and I was really going to get on the South America movement. So came back and moved everything from Atlanta in December 2018, and didn't look back. I was blessed to get a penthouse out here, which I ended up making to a commerce scenario. My penthouse, 6-bedroom, 5-bathroom joint. It was ball. Like, this is in the heart of the hood. It's Central. It's the only penthouse. And I was like, yo, I gotta do something that I've had in my dreams, but I gotta be able to like utilize what I've been blessed with to see if this concept would work. And in business, they would, you know, normally call that a proof of concept. Because I always had this idea to make, you know, a hotel where the suites were themed by, you know, inspirational artists from our background. So you got your Tupac suite, you know, it's like Hard Rock Cafe meets hotel. You know what I'm saying? So I always had that in my mind. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to do it. So I sat here, I designed my house here. I got all my plaques and my awards and everything. I put it in here. I made a Grammy room. I made all these different theme rooms. I got Michael Jackson on one whole wall, Bob Marley, the Beatles. You know, I kind of made it extremely diverse. And then I put it on Airbnb. And I know we getting booked left and right, Airbnb. So I had to get another crib out here. And as I get another crib, I'm looking for another business scenario, because Airbnb, you know, is bringing in the dollars. I'm looking for something that's going to bring in the pesos. So ran into a situation, man, where a rooftop lounge became available, and it's with a corporation. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to get it, but we're going to go for it, you know? And I never really took the moment like I did when, you know, when we did the Nimbus Universal transference over to being a predominant electronic dance music releasing, a multi-genre releasing label. I didn't research it first to see how many other brothers have a label like this. I didn't research it first to see how many brothers actually own a rooftop lounge in a corporation hotel, like a corporate hotel. Most corporate hotels, they own their own rooftop. They keep their rooftop. They don't lease it. They don't nothing. They maintain that you know, that commerce, that business. And out of 150 people that, or businesses that applied and, you know, put their submitted their business proposals, and I got it. I got Vibes, you know, VIBEZMDE.com. And it was crazy because I did not realize I was the only brother between North America and Europe that actually has a situation like that. And I built it out in the same kind of world that I put this together in the penthouse. I duplicated the model. I put T.I. on the wall. I got Burna Boy on the wall, Wizkid on the wall, Michael Jackson on the wall, Jeezy on the wall, Fire on the wall. And so I got them on the wall, and then I have everything else kind of built out in this kind of like Atlanta kind of vibe, you know, that Atlanta section type deal. And it's inside of a hotel, which is a blessing, because going through what we're going through now, things could probably be really different for me, but we're blessed because the hotel's close. So my business is with the hotel. And it's really dope because, again, you know, about manifestation and just being truthful and honest with yourself and taking ownership and just putting that energy out there in the universe. I wanted a hotel, like I told you. Now I'm doing business inside of a hotel with a rooftop, and I have a penthouse. So I got income coming in dollar from that. I got my pesos coming in running a bar lounge, which is not my first bar lounge, but it's my first one in another country in that type of scenario, in a rooftop. And yeah, man, so doing that, I opened December, COVID hit. We went to quarantine in March 19th, we went to quarantine. So we've been quarantined since. And honestly, it's still been a blessing for me because taking this time out in quarantine, you know, a lot of tragic things have transpired, but I've taken the time out in reflection and planning. And just to drop a jewel, studying distressed businesses. I have a goal of businesses here. You know, I got 4 restaurants right now I'm going back and forth with, you know, that I'm, you know, going after, you know, because to me, it's that portfolio, you know, and it's not being someone who preaches to our people. It's someone who sets an example of what I'm doing. And I'm letting you know that you can do it as well, not by talking, but by showing. And then a lot of brothers who are actually out here as well, you know, we have our meetings and, you know, we all try to work with each other to educate how you move out here and, you know, different things that you can do, man. So that's what's going on right now.
That'd be dope. That'll be dope too. And then you are showing by example. You know, I was thinking about that too, you know, because like I say, like we're going live right now from this interview, because what I wanted to get out of it is, you ever thought about doing some type of mentoring program or a thing where you can have somebody sign up 6 weeks, you do 6 days. Like for real, this is a game. You do 6 weeks, you come on once a week, you give these such and such this and give your insights on that and such. There's a lot of people who need you.
Do it with you. Do it with y'all. Like, to me, again, if you have the idea, that was your idea just now, right? All I want to do is just do my part. You know, the biggest thing that I've learned through the music industry is there's a separation. I have a whole algorithm breakdown of how this works. But there are the ones who architect, and you know, the architect is the builder, the creator, a lot of times the financier. That's connected through the architect, right? So the architect may be that label, you know, the ones that have the overall big picture vision, that are willing to make that investment to make this product come to life. Then with the artist, for instance, you have the artist, which is this rapper, the singer, but they're also a person. They're a brand, but they're also a person. So they have natural thoughts and different opinions about things. But then when lights, camera, action, interviews, these things in nature hit, they have to still represent that brand because they're tied back into that architect. They're tied back into those businesses that are a representation of brand-to-brand deals, right? Then you have the brand itself, which is the product. So for me, I've already done that separation within myself. And when you make comments like this, I'm a worker for my brand. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if you're a concept, I'm ready to go to work, you know, and whatever can be that inspiration, because again, we don't have a lot of time, but for the time that we do have, we have to do way more than what we're doing. And you can't be stuck saying and doing the same thing that other people have said and done, because there's no difference. We can get in a whole nother conversation. We can go. But my biggest thing is I never believe in breaking any oaths. I never believe in stepping on anybody else's agenda's toes. I always believe in A, the kids and youth first and re-education. And B, I believe in, if it doesn't work for me and if this environment doesn't suit my spiritual level or where I know I'm going, then I just separate myself and we grow and build it another way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotta have that's knowledge of self, and that's important. Knowing yourself, knowing when your spirit ain't right, and knowing when
it's on my neck. Novus T. It's on my neck, brother.
Yeah. What it say? What it say on your neck?
Novus T. Yeah, it means know thyself.
Yeah, just like that, bro, man. Man, I could keep you all day because man, there's so much I want to talk about, man. Bro, I saw that you was a stunt man. You did stunt work one time, bro. I'm like, bro, you like James Bond with this shit. Like, where?
Again, man, it's when you're blessed to have a mother like I had that just let me be me. You know, I in my book and in further interviews, future interviews, I have a lot to say about being a single father. I have a lot to say about you know, parenting. I believe that when you identify the passion of your child, then you're supposed to support that passion. You shouldn't enforce anything on your child. Children naturally show you what they're into. You know, you support that. And my mother always supported what she saw me being into. And with being in film and TV and in the music business, it was like I think what really got me to say, screw it, I want to do the stunt thing. I was in Neighbors 2 with Seth Rogen. I did a little feature scene in there with Hannibal Buress and a couple other people on Neighbors 2. And at first I thought they were going to cut the little scene that we had did. But just to give you a little insight on that, like that fear of, oh man, they're going to cut it. I don't think they're going to even keep that. And I sat there in the movie theater when it first came out. I was like, man, I know they cut scene. And I saw myself for the first time in person on a big screen in a cinema in America. And I was like, okay, that's dope, but I don't really like it. I don't want to like fight for trying to go after these big roles. Nah, I want to do something else that reminds me of like the Wesley Snipes world, or like some cool shit like that. Like I want to get that, because there weren't too many brothers as I started looking up. There weren't too many brothers that were really doing stunts. There are brothers and sisters that do stunts, don't get me wrong. But there's not like, that's not a thing that's really pushed out, like go do stunts, because stunts is dope and the money's good, you know, everything. But at the same time, you know, you have to stand in that line. You have to go for auditions. You have to, you know, do these things. So I was like, we might as well start independently making our own films and, you know, our own little projects and our own little shorts. And I just do the stunt work in that. So I was blessed to have, you know, someone like Alessandro. Alessandro is the stunt coordinator for Will Smith. He's the stunt coordinator for Keanu Reeves, for John Wick and all that. He's the one that taught John Wick the gun tilt when he comes around the corner. So he's one of my personal guys that, you know, do stunt work with me and stuff. So it's just, you know, relationships and blessings. And yeah, man, just messing around. Like, again, no holds barred. We're gonna do a short film out here in Colombia, you know, and
dope.
It's independent financing, bro. Just, you know, what if it's step by step, you have to finance it. You know, do what you want to do. Take your vision as a writer, create a little writing team, and just go for it. Like, you know, you have to be. Will Smith said this, you know, not too long ago. You do have to be that crazy, insane person to literally follow your dreams to the T, where you put everything on the line. And I've done it. I've been homeless. I've made money. I've lost money. I've been pimped by, you know, brothers in the game. I've been pimped by corporations in the game. And at the end of the day, I had to take a moment and realize that the only person that is going to solidify your situation for your lineage and solidify you eating the day is you, period. You're the only one that can secure you. Yeah, a corporation can't secure you, because different things happen in life where pensions get cut. These things change, that things change. So you can't have a full-scale reliance on a corporation unless it's your corporation. And then later, you know, we can rap about even, you know, how those things are supposed to get set up with being under a trust, and, you know, the difference between being a public and privates, and all these things matter, brother. So yeah, stunts. Stunts
yeah. That's what I'm saying, bro. We gotta get this mentor program going, bro. We gotta do it. You got so much to say, so much life to live. I can be. Hold up, man. Let me get some icebreaker questions, even though ice is broken. John Wick or Jack Reacher?
John Wick.
I pull for Jack Reacher. No, he finds a way, you know. But John Wick is a murderer. Dog.
I mean, bro, John Wick. They, you know, to me, I love. It's not even just about the action element. It's the storyline. It's this man went through a pain. And, you know, I'm a single father that's been fighting for custody of my daughter for almost 4 years. And I was there from the beginning, from pregnancy forth. And my daughter was, you know, taken away from me by the mother. And it wasn't because it was a problem or anything. It was because of, you know, how our relationship went and how she felt about things. And she knew the only way she could attack me was by taking my child, right? So I've been fighting through that, and that kind of pain from a real father, someone who your child means the world to you. My daughter's my best friend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having that pain. When I look at like John Wick, you just lost your wife. Your wife leaves you the dog. That's like, this is a part of me. This is something I'm giving you. And next thing you know, the dog gets killed. Bro, it's like, look, I tried to maintain my composure, and now it's just all out. It is what it is. Like that's why I love the John Wick joint. Like he was going there. Keanu did that.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it just got better and better. I was so impressed with John Wick 3. I was like, oh my, like, did he just walk the dead? He just doesn't stop, man. God,
Right.
yes, yes, indeed. Well, out of your travels, what's the most beautiful place you ever been? The most beautiful.
I would still have to say Medellin. You can't
Yeah,
beat these mountains, man. You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
because I mean literally I live in a crater. Like all the mountains slope down, and like I live in a crater. So like in my penthouse, when you look out, you're looking out at like a wave of mountains that just goes all over and lights. So it's a
Mm,
different energy. Yeah, I would
yeah.
definitely say Medellin. And certain people were like, oh, yeah, want to say Bahrain? I mean, it's like, I didn't even say Japan, and that's where I grew up. You know, I consider myself really Japanese, but
Right, right.
it's, and I, from, being what, 4 to, 19, but being in Japan. But it's about what hits your spirit. When you ask a question like that, I have to look at it from the spiritual element, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Colombian food. I like sancocho,
Mm,
but I'm not the biggest fan of Colombian food, and that's just me. And I'm always honest about that.
right.
But outside of that, it's beautiful. Man. I love this place.
What's your go-to meal anyway? You gotta cook it up yourself. You can cook.
I cook myself,
Mhm.
and the more I learn about my lineage, I found out that my grandfather on my father's side, Bob Thorn, um, he was a musician. He played with Nat King Cole. He played with
Mm.
Satchmo. He played with Louis Armstrong. He was a chef. He passed away at 98 years old. He had my uncle when he was 70, So, he was my height.
Wow.
So I just started, I was like, why do I like cooking? But no, I love to cook. I love experimental cooking. So, I'm a lamb guy. I love, obviously, seafood, sushi these days. But I've really gotten into my vegetables, super heavy. I always like vegetables, but I like healthy food, man. I like eating good. I really fell back a lot on steaks, and I used to be a big steak guy. But I go to a holistic doctor,
Mm.
and with dealing with the holistic side of things, you learn about the colonics and things of that nature. And your body's like a car. If you don't get the oil change and start really cleaning it out, that's really where a lot of disease and sickness truly comes about. Because they're not really cleaning the system. And so I really fell back a lot on a lot of red meats. I do it every once in a while. But yeah, bro. So I cook. But yeah,
Mm.
it's a mixed thing. I love Indian food. I love Arabic food. I love Turkish
Mm.
food. Like I'm extremely diverse, and I love the taste elements from different lands, and that I believe it helps the spirit. It helps the overall vibration and the connection with people, because you automatically have something that you can always talk about with different ethnicities. When you meet different people in different countries and different lands, you can shout out your favorite food, and they rock with you.
Mhm.
Now you got an open conversation. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
The ultimate icebreaker too, because like for you, like language and what is it? If you don't speak the same language, but food and music is universal,
oh,
and math.
yeah, yeah,
Food, music, and math is universal. We all understand
yeah.
those.
And math is that business, so we know we can do commerce together. As long
Yeah,
as the
yeah.
math makes sense, we got accounting, we good, brother. Let's do it. So that's facts, bro. That's facts.
Yeah, yeah, dope, bro. I want to say, man, thank you so much, man, for this interview, bro. I'm gonna definitely give you my number. I'm gonna at you on Instagram and do all that so we can link in. I'm gonna get something set up, and then we're gonna definitely follow through with it, like Michael Jordan with the jump shot. You know what I mean? And I
Facts, bro.
want to say congratulations on everything that you got going, and more blessings to you and good favor on your future endeavors, and stay healthy through this COVID-19 and everything. You know what I mean? Um, before we get out of here, bro, can you just tell everybody what they can find you, what you got going on, your book, everything?
All right. At Record Exec Rob is the Instagram. www.rt3.world is my website. I'll say that again. rt3.world. A lot of people don't know you don't have to do the .com. There's different worlds that you can go into with that. So rt3.world. You can find the Penthouse if you ever want to come to Medellin and you want to book directly with me. You can go Airbnb. What's up to you? It's at Music Exec Penthouse Medellin. abbreviated. So music, EXE, exec, penthouse spelled all the way out, and MDE. So then the last one is Vibes, VIBEZ, MDE.com. And those are the main platforms you can find me at, Robert Thorn, on Facebook. And yeah, bro, that's what we're doing. And there's a lot of different things I love to link with you with, bro. And we can talk, and see how we can continue to build. My end game goal, I do want to build a school of re-education for the youth. I think this is a good place to do it. There's a lot of brothers I want to build with and kind of grow a new curriculum of development and, work on those things. So, I mean, I believe education wins wars, brother. You don't have the nonviolent approach is about, a re-enlightenment of identifying where you are and truly understanding that you are your ancestors, So we have to do more for ourselves, but then doing more for ourselves, we embrace doing more for our community. And that's from a worldly perspective, not even just local or domestic, So
Absolutely.
yeah, bro, that's where I'm at, and that's what I got going. And I really
Man,
appreciate the interview.